Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm a products and automations builder, and today we are going to build an automation to find leads on Reddit. This is a cool automation. I'm really excited about this one. What this does is basically scours Reddit for posts and checks if the content of the post is applicable to a business or a service, and can score it to determine if maybe that post is something that you can comment on and say, hey, my product, my service, it fills that need. This is a lot more complex than just searching for something and, looking for keywords to see if people are talking about a product. This is going into the context of it. So we'll walk through it, show you how it's built, show you what it does. So I'm going to run it. Okay, we're going to stop this. It's run a few times. We'll go through what this is doing. So we can see here, this is creating these pages in this database with some details here. We have the post title, the URL to it, the relevance, which right now it's showing ones that shouldn't be showing, so we'll fix that. Some ideas for replying and so forth. So what this is doing is it's pulling from a custom Reddit feed that I created. So we're going to go to this and just so you can see. This is a custom feed I made. The idea was this would be for a specific business. I picked one at random. I think ChatGPT recommended this to me. This is Senja. Senja looks like they're a business that aggregates testimonials or lets you import them from different places. So stuff for social proof and marketing. So I followed a bunch of marketing channels, small business owners, SaaS, all these things, places where I think people might need something related to testimonials. And what this automation will do is we'll grab this whole feed. You can see here, pulls that in. It's limited to 100. So you can kind of tinker this to be whatever you need it to be. And you can make this as narrowly focused as you need it to be as well. So if you're in a niche where there's a handful of subreddits that make sense for you, you can target those really specifically. And then it will basically split these out. So it's going over them one by one. So it'll, here's a post. There's a lot of data associated with one post. So we'll pull out the post and then loop through them. This is just storing all of this data. So we're storing the subreddit, the ID of the post, and this is being extracted with this split here. So we're splitting this after the underscore right there. If you don't do that, it's not going to interpret the ID properly. So we're not going to be able to use that later if we need it. So make sure you do that. The title of the post, the content, the URL of the post, and the number of comments. These are things that, I pulled these out because I thought they might be useful later in the automation. Some of these things don't get used. So kind of depends how you want to play around with this data. Now comes the fun part. So this is all being fed to an agent, and this agent has right now just two main components. One is the screener that is analyzing if the content is relevant at all. So it's really basic, high level. Basically says, Senja is a SaaS tool and it does all these things, collects testimonials, manage and organize testimonials, all that kind of stuff, explaining what the app does, and says what the criteria is for marking a post as relevant. So when do I want to care about this? When do I want to continue this on? So these are the criteria. Says that they need testimonials or social proof, want to build trust with users or customers. This is something that we can expand upon and, grow out this list of what to look for. and add more context for when the tool might be useful for someone who's commenting on Reddit or creating a post. And here's criteria for if we just determine it's not relevant. The scoring component of this agent is basically looking for a little more info. It says you're helping a sales rep determine if a Reddit post is relevant to Senja.io. So that's the business that we're focusing on here. Your goals are score how strong the user's intent is, how likely they are to benefit from a product like Senja, summarize the post and comments in one to two sentences. We're really just right now looking at the content, not the comments. Bringing in the comments was a little bit complicated, so I took that part out. Suggest a helpful non-salesy reply that builds trust and offers value related testimonials or social proof. And then again, explains kind of what they're doing. So it's just taking a step further to give us a better sense of what a reply might look like, do some further vetting, those types of things. The idea here is not to create any kind of automatic replies, but to really just surface things and give us an idea of how we might be able to reply to certain comments. As part of this agent, we have this structured output. We want to make sure that everything comes out consistently so we can use it for our if statement afterwards here. So we have some JSON that's in here just explaining how things should be used. We want the relevance, the quality, the reason, decision, confidence, a reply idea, summary. We want all of those to come out, and we want it to really follow a standard format, so we're not trying to guess with this node over here as to what the output is going to be and how to format this. Once it gets through this step, it's going to pass through this if node where we'll do a check of whether or not we want to put it into our database page, and that's where we saw these popping up over here. This thing can run like crazy. You can put this on a schedule trigger like this and have it run hourly and pull in a whole lot of posts. The thing is, this could definitely get expensive. Right now we have this running on GPT-5 Mini. We could do this on GPT-5 Nano as well. Let's pull up the pricing for that. Looking at the pricing here, GPT-5 Mini, 25 cents per million tokens input. GPT-5 Nano, 5 cents per million. So very, very cheap. This is good for summarization and classification. I would say that's along the lines of what we're doing here. So we don't need anything super complicated. We can take that 5 cents per million, and these will cost like half a penny or less to run, I think, based on when I last checked. So if you run a lot of these per day, might pay $1 or $2 maybe, which if you find leads for your sales, this could definitely be worth the return on investment for those. The big thing for this though, I would say, is making sure you actually find these subreddits that are applicable to what you're doing. Otherwise, it's just going to be filtering through stuff that's completely non-applicable. The other piece would be making sure you have this criteria for the screener down. If your screeners aren't screening properly, it's not going to work. And then having these structured outputs is, again, important so you don't end up with junk in there like we did now, where it's feeding in these screened out ones because it put the relevance as screened out instead of what it's supposed to, which is high, medium, low. So rather than just see that output that's not that great, let's go back to this Reddit feed. We're going to figure out some posts in here that we could tie back to a product so we can see how this actually would work. This is really difficult to demo because I don't know when someone's going to post something that's related to a particular product. So unless I just run this continuously for days and days, I might not have something. And this was just a random thing I picked. So instead of doing that, let's do this. We're going to find a question from someone and then make up a product that fulfills that need so we can just show how this works. All right, this is a pretty good, just basic example. What website should I use for freelance digital marketers? This is someone who looks like they're trying to find freelancers in South America. So let's pretend we have a freelancing business that places people from South America. We're trying to find people who are looking for our services. So someone like this, if they're in the market for freelancers, we have that supply and we could potentially get their business. We want to be able to find that. This isn't something that necessarily is going to just be really easy to find on your own unless you're constantly monitoring it. This one's a little bit more straightforward because they ask the question really pointedly, but we'll also look at this too for some more context, right? If we're specifically serving South America, that's an important point. We want to pull that out. We want that to be in our little prompt so that this gets pulled through and alerts us that, hey, someone is looking for freelancers. Okay, so let's hop over in here to ChatGPT. We're going to feed in some of the prompts I was using and get them cleaned up to work for a freelancing business based in South America. All right, so you are analyzing Reddit posts to determine if the author is describing a real need that our South America-focused freelancing market can solve. Our platform is a niche marketplace that connects businesses with freelance professionals across South America. It helps people hire freelancers for specialized skills, etc., etc. So let's grab that, and then let's grab this score and summarize one. So not doing anything too crazy here. All right, now that we have our new prompts in place, instead of running it through this feed, let's actually instead just use this digital marketing sub so we can get a little more focused and we don't just sit here forever letting this run. Eventually it's going to grab the posts that come through that feed, but it's not very predictable. We need to get many posts. Okay. From digital marketing, let's do just 25. And we're going to turn this guy off. I had to go into this set node and just re-grab all the appropriate expressions to use now that I've turned off this split out node. Before you run this, also make sure you have this category set to new and not top or anything like that. If you're just trying to grab the newest stuff constantly and constantly be pulling in new posts as they're created, you could do something where it's top or hot if you're just trying to run this pretty infrequently, but you're not going to find everything that way. In fact, that might be a really good way to not get good results out of this. So I would probably recommend against that. So we're going to set that to new and we're going to run this. So when we click on our agent node here, you can see this token count starts to creep up as it runs more. But it keeps you in the loop as far as how many tokens you're consuming during each run, which is pretty cool. Also very reassuring that these token counts aren't that high. Remember, 1 million tokens is going to cost 5 cents with the model that we're using. So this is going to be fractions of a penny on the input side. Output side, obviously, there's different costs associated with it. It's 40 cents per million token output. But at least on the input side, it's going to be very, very, very cheap. So we've had a couple output already. Let's see what we've pulled in. So our post came into the database, but it was marked as not relevant, which is not good. So we don't want that. Let's add another step to this to make this even smarter. Let's add a summarizer here. That's basically just going to determine what the post is all about and then pass it along. That way it explains, hopefully in really clear terms to the other ones, what they're looking at so they don't each have to process all this information, potentially reinterpret things. Also best if we focus on one small task. So if this one first says, what is this post about? And the next one says, is this post about what my business does? And then the last one scores it. We're breaking up the work into small chunks that should be more achievable for this little agent that we built. Let's hop over here. Let's get a prompt for a summary. All this post summarizer. All right, let's add in another model. When I set up these memories, I always do this, switch it from connected chat trigger to define below, just because I'm not usually using a chat. for something like this. This is going to be based off of a timer. And then for the key, I just put in this, which seems to work. Now we have to update this main prompt. We want it to go through the summarizer first. So now we're just going to tell the agent to use the summarizer agent first. Let's update this to say agent should be used second. This agent should be used third. In this node, in our output parser, also just going to change this to yes or no and make this relevant. Try to keep it simple here. Then we can do the work to just evaluate on our own. Keep this quality, reason, all this other stuff the same. And then update our if node to say if relevance is equal to yes, and then get rid of this. So if it's a yes, if it's relevant, we are going to pass it along. So we're actually we have this kind of backwards because of, I don't know why, but we're gonna fix it. So now, if it's true, it'll go to the database. If it's false, we're gonna continue the loop. This thing looks atrocious the way that this is set up, but it's more about the functionality, right? We're running again, got this new step, click on this. Every click is another penny for OpenAI. Oh, we hit an error. Make sure when you set up this memory, if you're doing this little workaround like I do, don't leave it on expression, set it to fixed, and it should work for you. Okay, we are running again. Let's see how this new post summarizer works. And let's watch as more of my money goes to make Sam Altman richer. That run was taking way too long. You can see I canceled it after 11 minutes. We're going to try and simplify this. And we're going to remove this guy. We're going to deactivate that. We're going to update this. And I think really just what we need is a summary and we need screening. Is it relevant? Is it not? On this new slim down run, it's using way less tokens and it's going way faster, which is good. But I think it also skipped the post that we want to pull out. So I'm going to stop it. Let's do some analysis. Here we see authors seeking recommendation for website or platforms to hire freelance digital marketers with a preference for South American talent. This sounds like the post. So pretty good summary. What went wrong in our screener? Okay, so this is relevant. That's good. That's what we want. Okay, so it showed up as relevant. Problem is, our formatting did not work. This guy, honestly, when I work with these things, formatting seems to be the trickiest part to get down. And I don't know what to do about it. It's a real pain. So we wanted to be saying relevance, yes, no, and instead it's saying relevant, which is not an option I was giving it. Let's go in here and we're going to try something that I've done before. And this actually does help sometimes to get better outputs. Okay, we're going to come into our prompt here and we're going to update this to say, always use the attached formatting tool. All right, so that should really help catch it. This is one of those things that needs to be played around with a little bit. So doing testing early on and even playing with this expression. So maybe it's, maybe we don't have this if node to start, and just let everything flow in, see how it's logging, and then we can adjust. You can see it's using this not relevant thing a lot. And it started to flip it up. So let's give it one more run, see if it goes through, the agent's working, except for this parsing piece, this really tricky, annoying part. Okay, just to mark this here, we're at a minute and it's done 4 outputs, so that's pretty good. 15 seconds per run. I stopped it again. It's still not outputting it properly. Saying relevance relevant. It really doesn't want to follow the instructions. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I shouldn't be telling it to say relevance yes, no. I know it doesn't make sense to phrase it that way. So maybe I should just go with the flow. We'll do relevant or yes. Sometimes just don't fight with it. That's what I've learned. We're gonna run it again. Again, the agent's doing the thing the right way. Summarizing, great job. Screener, doing a great job to say if something is relevant. The output is actually good. It's just not in the right format. And that's how delicate these things are. You have to really fiddle around with it to get the right end result that you're looking for. So it's a lot of trial and error. Obviously I could have just perfected this all and not shown you this, but this is how we troubleshoot. This is valuable because it shows that it's not magic. It just doesn't all work. You gotta play around with these things and there's steps to it. I had this as capital R relevant and it wasn't showing as true because it outputs in lowercase. Don't be like me. So we're just doing a little update to our prompt. It was very thin to begin with. So hopefully a little bit more information in here will help. Let's see if this update helps us out. All right, if you've gone through, we're getting not relevant posts in again, but okay, we cleaned it up. We got the right post coming through now. We got this, what website should I use for freelance digital marketers? It determined that it's useful, which is great. And it keeps pulling out these as not relevant, which is good. It's also important to indicate what we don't want. These shouldn't be coming into the database, but that's probably more of an issue with my actual, my node here, my if node. So I don't think we're going to worry about that too much. I feel good about this. We just got to get the if node down. Now that it's outputting much better, it's got our relevant, not relevant. Well, let's see what this guy is. This has nothing to do with freelancers. So just running this one more time to see if my node is working properly now. Okay. So this is our most recent run. This is our last run that was doing some problematic things. Our summarizer is doing a lot more work now that I made that update. And it's just, if this summary isn't coming back relevant to our goal, it's just not even sending it to the screener one that's supposed to do a little bit more heavy lifting. So that's good. It's moving fast now. So these things take some tinkering, especially with the prompts. When you're building an agent like this, even though this is really basic, it does come down a lot to the prompts and fiddling around with it to try and get the outputs you're looking for. A lot of trial and error. If we come back here, we can see I started this a while ago. It's 8:24 now. Started this at like 7. And it's a lot of testing. It's a lot of playing around. Honestly, if I spent more time on these prompts up front, probably would have had a better result. But this is good to show just some of the things that you need to play around with to get this to work the way that you might want to. And there are a few ways that beyond this that I think this is really useful. I don't think this is just about finding leads necessarily, although that is really great. I think you could also use something like this to find content to engage with. So if you're a thought leader or a business even, it doesn't need to be, hey, does this apply to my product or something like that necessarily? Like, is this something I can sell people on? But it could even be something along the lines of, is this post relevant to my business and the things that I do and the knowledge that I possess, so that I can come in and provide a valuable comment? Then it can pull out into a database like this or alert you through some channel to say, these are posts that might be worth commenting on. Again, provide ideas potentially, but it's a good way, rather than spending all day scrolling through Reddit trying to find things, have them delivered to you and then go and provide value to people. It's a really good strategy. I don't think people use it enough for marketing. If you're the CEO or founder of a business and you come in and save the day for someone by answering their question, even if you're not selling them, they're going to find that useful, and then they might go buy your product. You might just sneak in there, hey, I also built this product. It could be cool if you check it out. Things like that. But this isn't just for leads necessarily. I'm going to do another version of this where I try out some different things and just show how this could be useful for different industries. Look out for that one. This has been a journey. I'm glad you stuck around. Hopefully you learned something from this. I learned a lot about patience and prompting and how much I hate these parsing nodes. So we'll see you soon in another video. Please, if you enjoy this, if you got anything from it, it really helps if you give it a like and subscribe. There's lots more automations to share, lots more AI product building to share. So see you in the next one.